Time now for a full look at our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Scott Burchett. Scott, you've been busy in the Weather Center tonight. Of course, we're preparing for storms that we could see tomorrow morning. What's the latest right now?
You know, I'm going to be honest here, and I've said this before. You don't hear me use the word tornado on the air very often. I'm seeing some data that it's very concerning. When we look at the data, we look at the numbers, and we see the same statistics, things like what we call the SIGTOR, the significant tornado parameter, and so on. It's very concerning because I've seen numbers this high and seen severe storms and tornadoes associated with these numbers before. Don't want anyone to freak out on us, but it's a good reason tonight to start preparing and thinking about what could happen as these storms develop. As a matter of fact, right now is the time to charge your phone. That way you can get alerts, you can check on others if these storms actually do materialize, and then have a plan. Know where your safe space is and be sure it's accessible. Right now, you know, if you know the closet or the basement that you would go to, make sure the stairways are clear, make sure you don't have to throw out the hockey equipment and all those jackets and everything and shoes you've been storing there, and then be weather aware throughout the day, not just tomorrow, but really every day of the year you need to be weather aware. But when we know these systems are coming in, even if the skies aren't cloudy, even if it's quiet outside, be weather aware and use that phone, use the app to know what's coming on the radar. And of course, we'll tell you here on News 42, Darius is going to be in early tonight during the overnight hours. I'll be in early tomorrow to help him out if anything materializes, and we're going to make sure everyone stays aware during the storms when they roll through. 55 degrees right now, very warm out there, winds out of the east, 11 miles an hour, humidity 69%, and barometric pressure, it's falling right now. That front making its way in, the warm front. Again, temperatures right now, not too bad out there, very mild, low to mid 50s across the area. We're seeing those temperatures rise as we go through the overnight hours tonight. And the winds, well, they're getting a bit breezy as these showers move through, but nothing really to write home about. 13-mile-an-hour winds in Franklin, 14-mile-an-hour winds in Brownsville. Still seeing an easterly or northeasterly flow. That's going to change. We're going to start to get these winds from the south as we go in the next few hours. Warm front continues to move on through. Again, showers and storms as we go through the overnight hours. Likely we'll see a break during the wee hours of the morning, but then as you head off to work tomorrow, the showers start back. The worst of it really starts to get here, though, during the mid to late morning hours. Cold front comes through right around 11 o'clock. Sometimes these things speed up, so just because Futurecast is saying 11 o'clock for right along I-65, just be aware it could actually speed up during the overnight hours and come through a little earlier. But we are saying during the daytime hours tomorrow morning, we will be seeing these showers and storms starting to develop and roll through here during the latter part of the morning into the midday hours. And then as we go further east, that's when we'll start to see areas east of I-65 get more of the shower thunderstorm activity. And that's exactly when we expect to see the severe weather develop as that cold front rolls through during those morning hours tomorrow to the early afternoon hours east of I-65. After that, we'll run that chance for some high winds as that high wind warning continues into tomorrow night. But then overnight tomorrow night to Saturday, things calm down and they cool down too, because we'll get that gulp of cold air that comes in after those cold fronts, notorious for this time of year. Remember, you can have severe weather any day of the year, but this is the time of year that we would more likely expect it. Mid-level spin, this does not necessarily mean tornadic storms, but any storm, any thunderstorm can have some rotation to it, especially the severe storms. A little bit of mid-level spin rolls through during the early morning hours. Then we get that break in storm activity. And then here's the cold front lining up to come through during the late morning, midday hours. More mid-level spin. I expect that we'll see some severe thunderstorm warnings or some severe thunderstorms that would normally get severe thunderstorm warned. Not likely that we'll get as many warnings issued because we have the high wind warning tomorrow, but no, some severe storms will be likely rolling through as we go through the late morning hours into the afternoon hours tomorrow. And that's when we could also see a couple of those storms with some spin up tornadoes. And then after that, we see this cold front move through and things start to calm down. Futurecast rainfall, some pockets of heavier rain are possible. Most of it, though, will be north of the Ohio River and along the Ohio River. Enhanced storm threat for tomorrow, possible tornadoes, heavy rain, damaging wind. That's a 3 out of 5. We have the high wind warning that's in effect for tomorrow. And then we also have that flood watch closer to the Ohio River, really the fringe counties in the News 40 viewing area. For tonight, though, 55 degrees, warm, cloudy. The showers and storms continue to roll on through. Tomorrow, though, this is the day of action. This is a severe alert day. 70 degrees tomorrow with showers and storms thunderstorms, especially the first half of the day, the early afternoon hours. We calm things down for the weekend. That's a look at your 7-day forecast brought to you by Foundation Solutions Group. I'm going to interject a couple of points here. This is part of a larger line of storms that's moving across south central Kentucky. This particular cell is moving very quickly to the northeast. So if you're not in the warned area, very good chance that you might catch some winds from this, or as part of the larger thunderstorm complex. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings for Christian and Todd County, and that tells me that that line is still very powerful south and west of the areas that are receiving those severe thunderstorms right now. So we are not finished with this. This is just one warning, the first warning really as far as a tornado warning that we've seen in the WNKY News 40 viewing area. Of course, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Logan County. We'll be watching this line as it passes through. Again, if you're not in the immediate area of this warning, you likely will feel these winds and know that there are at least some severe thunderstorm warnings or severe thunderstorms nearby. One thing we need to point out, National Weather Service told us they will not be issuing severe thunderstorm warnings as often for this line moving through because we already have a high wind warning. So unless we see a severe thunderstorm warning, a severe thunderstorm that has winds higher than 65 or 70 mile an hour winds in it, they will not issue a specific warning for that storm unless it shows signs of rotation. So just because you might be looking at a radar and not seeing those flashing yellow outlines, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily in the clear. If it's storming where you're at and you're seeing a lot of red, say on a radar on a mobile app, just know those storms could very well be packing a punch, and you need to have that safety plan in mind.
Time now for a full look at our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Scott Burchett. And Scott, we actually have breaking news just into the newsroom. Governor Andy Beshear has announced that a second person has now died due to these storms. Now, this person is from Edmonson County. We're continuing to learn devastating details like this, of course, learning more about power outages, damage across the area. It really was just a busy morning weather-wise today.
It was a busy morning led into a busy early afternoon period. And, I was in here early today working with Darius, and of course, both of us stayed busy.
Right.
It was very eerie as these storms were rolling through. You could hear wind over the building, over the studios, and the light grid in the studio started shaking. And no reports of any tornadoes in Bowling Green or in the immediate area, but just goes to show you the winds that we receive from these systems can pack such a punch. You don't have to have a tornadic system to cause damage. And another thing is, we've had so many wind advisories here lately, so many wind storms, if you want to call them that, that weakens trees, that weakens utility poles, even fixtures on buildings. So then finally you get another storm. That's the tipping point. A lot of times it causes either a roof or a fixture or a tree limb to give way.
Right.
So dealing with a lot of moving parts. Right now, though, let's check outside. Things calming down much better than what they were earlier. 53 degrees right now. Those temperatures are dropping behind the cold front, but boy, those winds, they might be calming down a little bit, but they are still blowing out there pretty heftily. 24 mile an hour winds from the west-southwest in Bowling Green. Humidity 59%, barometric pressure rising, looking like quite a bit of fog at Smiths Grove through the weather eye cam. And as far as temperatures are concerned, 50s east of I-65, along I-65, so Glasgow, Edmonton, both 54, Scottsville 55. Look off to the west, though, of I-65. We start to see Woodbury 49, Greenville 44, same for Hartford. And then across the Ohio River into southern Illinois, that blue, those are 30s as far as temperatures are concerned, 30 degrees, 30 to 39 degrees. So we are definitely going to see cooler air filter in here, at least for the first part of the weekend. Another look at those winds. These are not necessarily wind gusts, although Brownsville, that's probably a gust occurring right now, 50 miles an hour from the west-southwest. Russellville, 15 miles an hour. Munfordville, 26 miles an hour. Even in Elizabethtown right now, gusting at 42 miles an hour. Now, these are gusts from the last hour. So Brownsville, that lines up with that wind speed that I just mentioned. So this is pretty much happening right now. Elizabethtown, a 60 mile an hour gust in the last hour. Russellville, a 29 mile an hour gust. So it looks like the numbers in the southwestern part of the viewing area coming down somewhat, and that's exactly what we want to see, although we still have that high